So yeah, why don't we just start with you telling us your name and who you are, what you do, and what type of art you're into.
My name is Olivia Jensen. I'm an animator and illustrator. By day, I work in pinball, making animations for pinball machines. But in my free time, I am a filmmaker, and I make animated films, and I like to draw and paint. If anything that's like pretty and emotional, I like drawing people. I like drawing flowers. That's...
Nice. And you animated a short.
I did.
So could you tell us a little bit about your short, when it came out, some of the accolades? I know it's done really well.
Thank you very much. I made this film called Waiting by the Phone, and I had made it as my capstone to graduate from college.
Oh, okay.
So it was like I had to make a film, but because I'm an overachiever and a perfectionist, I wanted to finish it and like do a really good job instead of just being like, oh, I want to pass the class and get an A. It's a film about grief, it's about loss, it's about this woman who lives alone in an apartment when it's very clear that this apartment has two people living in it or had two people living in it. So it's kind of her going about her day and dealing with like the grief of the thing that is not there. So yeah, it's about 3 minutes long. It's up on my Vimeo now, actually. It's done with its festival run. But after I'd completed it, I'd submitted it to my school's like student film festival, not really expecting anything, just kind of being like, I'm proud of this film, I'm done with it, and everyone who worked on it did such a good job. And then it ended up getting nominated for a bunch of awards at the festival, and then I won Best Director and all that. But
That was awesome.
Thank you so much. But that happened, and I was like, oh, like people actually like it. Okay, it's not just me. So maybe I have something here. My storyboarding teacher at DePaul, shout out Steve Saki, he emailed me and was like, here's a bunch of festivals you should submit to.
Was there like a specific sort of inspiration behind it? Because I feel like it does feel like a very personal piece.
Thank you.
So with as much as you're comfortable with, if you want to like go into maybe what inspired you to make that film.
Yeah, it's funny because this film is about like death and loss, and it's not a true story, and I have been asked that, but it is based on like very real feelings, because in my work, what like the biggest thing I want to get across is like raw emotion, and I want to make people feel something or relate to it. So I was drawing on feelings of loss and guilt, like what does it feel like to lose a person or to lose like a big part of your life that was so important in your everyday life and suddenly is not there anymore. Like how do you deal with that? And at the time when I made the film, I was going through a weird time with school because I was living at home and commuting to school, and I felt like I was losing part of like my home life, and was going through a like somewhat breakup at the time. So I'm losing a person, but also losing like part of my life. So it was like I was going through a lot of loss, and I wanted to kind of channel all of those feelings into a film. My favorite thing that like I've experienced from this film though is like having people relate to it. I had this one woman come up to me crying after a festival being like, oh, your film made me think of my mom.
But I mean, that's incredible though, because it's like to actually like reach and channel that like human emotion, like that's what people want to do with their art. And that being said too, like I know you have a very particular visual style as well.
Thank you.
Like, I feel like you definitely come into your own and like what your stuff looks like.
Thank you.
Could you maybe, I don't even know if it's maybe something you're conscious of, but could you tell us a little bit about like how you came to that style?
Sure.
Or was it a conscious decision? Is it something you kind of just fell into?
I feel like my style, like my visual style, is still evolving. Like sometimes I'll be working on work and I think like I don't even have a style. Like I'm just drawing what I feel like drawing. But then I hear it from you or from other people like you have a very distinct style. And even one of my teachers at DePaul, after watching my film, was like, I want to use your film as an example for like how to find your style. And I was like, I haven't even found my style. I don't know what you're talking about. But after doing a lot of thinking and stuff about it, I realized that style is more about just like what you personally like to do. Like think about what do you like to draw, and then how do you draw it, and that's basically it. I like working in specific mediums like ink and watercolor, really like muted colors, real pale colors, things like that. I'm really inspired by fashion illustration.
So do you have any new projects that you're working on currently, as far as maybe another, I mean, I don't know if you're working on another short film or what do you have in the pipeline?
I do have another film that's like in the works. It's in pre-production right now. I have all the storyboards done and it's entirely written and everything. It takes place in like an urban setting, and it's kind of my love letter to Chicago in a way.
Nice.
So so hopefully if all goes well, I can have that done by the end of this year.
I don't know how much you do this anymore, but at one point in time, you were an actress to some degree.
Yes,
Is
true.
Do you still act at all, or are you focusing more on animation now?
Yeah, so I mean, I am focusing more on animation now because that's more of like my career path, but I do have a background in acting. Growing up, like my two loves were acting and drawing. And then I, like going into college, I was like, what is the thing that like combines these things? And that's how I discovered my love for animation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that having that background as an actress and like working in film and theater has really informed my animation process, because I feel like since my work deals a lot with emotion and like characters and things like that, I feel like that comes from that acting background. And I'm really happy that I have that, because I think that in a way animation is acting, if that makes sense.
Anything else you haven't said that you'd like to say, want to throw out there, promote anything? What do you got?
Follow me on social media. I don't know. Like I try to update on my social media, and I want to stay motivated to keep making films and stuff.
Awesome.
So yeah, please support me. I just recently started a Patreon, so I have that.
Awesome.
Also, if you want to give me money, that's cool. Go watch my films on Vimeo, like my stuff on Instagram. Yeah.
Very cool.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll link everything in the description.
Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for doing this.
No problem. Thank you for having me. I feel so special.